back.
Welcome back to Actually, I Like My Spouse.
Absolutely.
As always, I'm Michael.
And I am Creatia.
And we are the
Webleys. We truly believe that fun, faith, and friendship is the foundation to a great marriage. That is what ours is rooted in.
100%.
We believe that if everybody can anchor in on that, then they can have a successful partnership.
Amen. Thank you.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Do you feel as good as you look?
You look good too, honey.
Thank you. We put out the podcast this week over the last 3 days. How has that felt for you?
It felt really good to get out a creation, something that we've been working on, something that we've been praying about, thinking about, taking action on, but keeping it close to our chest. Not really knowing like how to release it, put it out there.
And finally, this past week, we were just like, let's just do it.
How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel inspired. I feel creative. I feel like this is something that is ordained by God. I feel that this is something that will change marriages, change partnerships. And I also feel like we've already grown. Like what it took for us to get here, what it took for us to start.
Yeah.
Actually put out, regardless of what people say, this is an incredibly vulnerable thing to do. I
agree.
We're coming to this podcast in full transparency, in full authenticity. And with that, we may show up well on the internet and be beautiful people and a beautiful couple. Thankful for that. But we have highs and lows as well. And so to bear the bones of that in front of the public, it's an incredibly vulnerable thing to do. So I'm super proud of us and I'm encouraged by it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I would agree 100%. Like I remember just this weekend putting on a post of just love is a spectrum. And like my hope is that everyone gets to experience falling in love, being in love. But that spectrum of falling in love, being in the middle, being in some deep love, and sometimes falling out of love, especially in marriages, it's one of those things where you just look around and just like, how do I maneuver through this?
Yeah.
I really love this person and I really want to be with this person, but I don't like them right now.
I think that what is so powerful about what we're doing here, it's about the messy middle. Everyone's having conversations about how to get a man, get a woman, but how do you keep a man? How do you keep a woman?
Yeah.
How do you stay
For sure
rooted with your partners? Yeah, it's been great to finally put this out, and we're here today bearing arms of knowledge. So you'll see me with my iPad because I took a lot of notes, wanting things to be as fruitful and as knowledgeable and as helpful as possible. And so not only did I take notes about our experiences and things we want to share, but also just learnings. I coined myself as a scholar. I like to learn. And so this gives me a great opportunity to just share some of the learnings, not only our personal, but also just from what I've picked up through books and online and stuff like that.
So please tell the audience, what is our topic for today?
Our topic for today is, does marriage live up to the hype? Everybody has these dreams and hopes, and a lot of people at least carry these dreams and hopes of, I can't wait till I get married one day, or when I finally find my partner, when I find my forever man. And does it live up to it though? When you finally get in it, when you finally get married? And I can't wait till we have the 90-year-old and the 85-year-old couple on the podcast that's been together for 55 years, because those are the type of gems that I just eat up. Because it's like you have a different sense, a different generational wisdom when there was no internet, no Instagram, what was love then? What kept y'all molded then? Because a lot of times I feel like in our relationships, that's what we need to get back to. Like things have become so murky with the internet and social media that the wisdom of a 90-year-old, 95-year-old who fell in love 50 years ago and navigated the ups and downs of parenthood and marriage and like society and civil rights.
Yeah.
Like they had so many other things to think of. Like, how did y'all stay together?
For sure. So let's answer the question.
Yeah.
So the first question again is, does marriage live up to the hype? What say you?
Does marriage live up to the hype? For me, as far as me and my household, yeah, I think that marriage has lived up to the hype. But I think the question before you have the answer, does it live up to the hype, was, were you the girl that was hyping up marriage? And for me, I was never that girl. I was never the girl that grew up, oh my God, I can't wait for my wedding. I can already picture my wedding dress. And I'm going to never. I never had that thought growing up. It was never like, oh, I can't wait to get married, or I want the Barbie doll house with the and maybe because I didn't witness it in my household. My mother has never been married.
Okay.
And so I never really seen marriage in that way. My aunt got married, but I can't really remember the wedding or anything like that. So it wasn't like an aspirational thing for me. So when we say, did marriage live up to the hype? I don't know that I even had this hype around it.
Okay. Yeah. Even though I think by the time that we got married, social media was growing at the time.
Yeah.
So it's still like a thing in terms of the social hype.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Outside perspective. So you didn't have at that point in time expectations on getting married or anything like that?
So 2013 is when we met, when we got together.
Correct.
Which Instagram was becoming popular, but Facebook was already like a thing.
Yes.
At that time, I was getting out of a relationship, and I was like, I'm about to have fun. What? Marriage? Boy, I'm about to have the time of my life.
Yes.
I've been I'm a relationship girl, contextually, guys. I've been in 2 long relationships in my life. I really haven't been in the streets. And not in a negative way.
Amen. Hallelujah.
I'm saying
amen. Hallelujah.
And I have full intentions. Okay. When I got out that relationship, I said, the streets, I'm coming to them. I hope the lights is on because I'm staying out late, baby. That was my intention. I wasn't thinking about marriage.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, I'm about to have fun.
And then I popped up.
And then bam, 6 weeks later.
I popped up with fun. Popped up with fun though. I was in the streets.
You popped up with fun.
And
So
you said, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I said, I found me a street one.
I said, yeah.
We were able to be in the streets together, which was beautiful. And we should contextualize what the streets means. What does the streets mean?
The way that you made it sound just now, I said, man, I'm glad I scooped her up. So contextualizing, I'm thinking you're saying, from my understanding of how you like to put it, you want to be out and have a good time.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is I was in a committed relationship and I was excited to date.
Yes.
And just have fun and go out, and we're still in a party phase.
Gotcha.
And when I say that we were in the streets together,
yeah,
what I mean is we met one another and we had so much fun. We got to go out, live life. So I still got to
You still got to
I still got to be,
exactly.
Yeah, it was a tapped in streets, but it was still the streets nevertheless.
In a relationship wise though, you got to be in a relationship and still enjoy being outside, as they say.
Exactly.
Understood.
Did marriage live up to hype for you?
It absolutely did. And I have 2 points to it. I believe that it lived up to the hype in the sense of my thought process of marriage. To your point, I was also a person that was in relationships, in long-term relationships. So my thought was okay, cool. I'm going to be in this committed relationship, but I'm taking it to the next level. And what that means is I get to have a partner that we can travel with, we can do life with, we can have a nice wedding and invite our families. In terms of those things, it's, okay, cool. Yes, marriage lived up to the hype. So for me, it's what happens when the hype fades. What happens when the hype is no longer there? Yes,
the hype is no longer there. Or sometimes it can be. I don't want to say that every marriage, the hype falls or boils down. This segues us into our next section here, which is what were our expectations of marriage going in? So not necessarily did it live up to the hype. What were your expectations going into our marriage?
I'll start with me. My expectations for me, I think marriage counseling helped that. Prior to us going to marriage counseling or premarital counseling, my thought process for a husband was, I'm committed. I'm committed to you, and it's my job to be the provider and the protector. And it was okay, cool. What does that mean? Financially, I need to provide, protect. I need to make sure that you're safe. And our pastor was like, yeah, that's for sure. But it goes a little bit deeper, Mike. And I was like, in what way? You also have to be the leader of the household. Okay, tell me more. You have to be the spiritual leader of the household. That goes into being the teacher.
Yes.
So that means, okay, you guys are reading the Bible, but are y'all praying together? Are y'all actually reading the Bible together, going over verses? Being the cultivator, facilitator for your wife and for your kids. Are you making sure the environment is set so that your wife is actually fulfilling her potential? And so that gave me a different perspective of just, oh, this is not just an extended relationship. This comes with responsibilities. This comes with the burden. This comes with headship that made it so much more deeper than, oh, this is, again, girlfriend and boyfriend, act two.
It's completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah. And so you're saying that those were your expectations of marriage going in, primarily due to the stewardship of your pastor.
Correct.
Discipleship, of your pastor.
Yeah.
Okay, great. My expectations of marriage going in was, for our marriage, was that I saw it as like the societal wifely duties of cooking meals, making sure the house is clean, making sure like you were taken care of. And I had expectations of you to provide financially, to provide from a sense of safety and security. But also I had expectations for there to be fun for a sustainable, like long-term amount of time.
Yeah.
Like my expectations was that I had a sense of happiness and joy within our partnership always. That was an expectation. And I don't know that people think about that going into marriages. Oh, I expect that happiness and joy will follow me throughout this marriage or partnership for the duration of it.
Yeah.
Instead of hard, that is an expectation.
As we're going through our phases and different acts of our marriage and our life, I'm just like, oh, yeah, fun has been a huge part about that.
Yeah.
But to your point of just like I think that expectation of a person as who you are, right?
Yeah.
Like even before you get into a relationship, I think that you were a fun person. I like to consider myself a fun person. Regardless of who you were in a relationship with, it's just, I like to go have a good time.
Yeah.
I like to travel. I like to do these things. So then as we come together, it's just, oh, those are the pillars that we have.
Yes, exactly. But my prior relationship, he wasn't a fun person.
Yeah.
Go out and hang out and have fun. That wasn't like necessarily a DNA thing for him. It was something I was able to pull out because that's who I was.
Okay.
But like, I think that sometimes we go into partnerships or relationships not completely understanding that, oh, this version of this person right now may not be who they really are. Because sometimes people do a great job of pulling the wool over your eyes.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
And the person that you expected and you were experiencing may not be the person that shows up once that lock and key is there of marriage.
Yes.
Like
yes.
they might pull out the real version of themselves and you're just like, wait a minute. I've never seen this. Who is this person?
I think also people change over time.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
When you think about the expectations you have for marriage, I'm wondering, like, when you think of how your expectations were cultivated outside of, oh, I met my pastor and then he was able to mold my expectations.
So, like I said, prior to that, because when I grew up in my household, my mother was married before. I had a stepfather. And I would say didn't necessarily give like the greatest example. So one of the things for me when I thought about marriage, it was just commitment. Being committed to one person, that means you're no longer out in the streets, as we said earlier today. Mm-hmm. You're no longer out in the streets and you're no longer chasing, you're no longer looking. You're just committed to this one particular person.
Yeah.
And so that was my thought process. Also having the thought process of being the provider and the protector, and then the pastor brought in a lot more. But what I didn't give was my perspective on my expectations for my wife. Going into our relationship, even thinking about marriage, I was always thinking about my partner, the person that I can marry. There was a lot of outwardly things. They have to look a certain way. They have to be healthy. They have to be
healthy as in fit.
Healthy as in fit. Healthy, but not just fit. Like you remember at the time, like right before we got together, I was a vegetarian for 10 years. And those like last 4 to 6 years, I was also vegan. So not just healthy, going to the gym and working out, but also health conscious, learning about different vitamins, different things like that.
Can I sidebar that real quick?
Please do.
When Michael and I met, as far as healthy, He was healthy as he's always been, as you all know.
What was you about to say?
He was like, all right, I'm going to go for a run. And y'all, I was not working out at nobody Texas State gym. I think I went to the Texas State gym, which is where we met, at the Texas State maybe 3 times in 4 years.
In your entire college career.
And 3 times, okay? Did a
crazy.
little tour, little stair stepper, and bounced. So he was like, you want to go for a run with me? And I was like, yeah, I run all the time. Yeah, this ain't no problem. Y'all, I was on that run. At some point, I was like, yeah, you can go ahead of me. You can go ahead. Yeah, no, I just want to take it a little slower.
After I was lapping you.
Literally, he
Like the
started
first
lapping
time,
me,
yeah,
and but I was committed.
You was
because I
committed.
felt like that was an expectation that you had that your woman, as you just said,
As I said,
your
yeah.
woman needed to be fit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna meet that expectation, even though
That's not your forte.
yes. And what's funny is throughout our marriage of the 12 years, you have been that's been a staple. Like, you have been a pillar of why I've remained so fit, not to please you, but just because that's like a lifestyle that you brought into my life that I love and I become acclimated to. But I thought that was a funny story because that
really
was
funny
an
story.
expectation you had.
It was an expectation.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, this person, I really want to make sure that she's responsible. But I had a really deep thought that she needs to be able to connect with my friends in New York, my family. My mother needs to love her. My friends in Texas needs to love her. And in terms of really having something going for yourself, that was also a part of it. It's okay, I want to make sure that she has a good head on her shoulders. And that's how I came into the...
Okay, I have a question. What was your expectations around sex in marriage as a man? Because I feel like I've heard certain things from different men.
Okay.
So I want to know, what was your expectations of sex going into marriage?
My expectations was when we met, we had great chemistry. And so with that chemistry, we had sex quite often. And so my thought process is, oh, of course, this is what it's going to be for the rest of my life.
Dang.
Yeah.
That was a deep expectation. For the rest of your life? Wow.
Because here's the thing. If I just told you that one of the things about marriage was commitment.
Yeah.
I'm committing myself to this woman. So that
Physically as well.
That means physically, spiritually, emotionally. Yeah. A part of that is, oh, this just comes with the territory. This is a normal thing.
I feel like a lot of men have that perception.
100%.
They're like, oh, I've decided that you are the one for me. I feel like they feel like this is you lucky. Like, I chose you. You are chosen.
Yeah.
And now that means you gonna meet this sexual expectation all day, every day, whenever I want it, how I want it, like frequency 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a week. Because I chose you. And I'm being faithful to you, it's over. If I'm faithful to you, I 1000% expect that you are giving it up when I like it in marriage.
Yes.
I feel like that's how men think.
Yes.
Or a lot of men, not all men.
A lot of men think that way. And I'm not speaking for every guy. However, what I will say is one thing I learned about you and then some in your friends as well. Women are just really creative. They like new, spontaneous. They don't necessarily like routine.
Yes.
Guys, on the other hand, look, if this is what I like, this is what I like.
Flip it, dip it.
You talking about something different. Now you're talking about something different.
But you're saying the routine, if I like it 3 times a week, then I'm good with that routine.
Correct.
Okay.
But to your point, though, it does get to a place where it's just, especially like when you're newly married, coming off of being in a season of
Honeymoon phase.
getting engaged, honeymoon, all the above. Oh, yeah. The thought process is like, oh, this is what life is.
Yeah.
This is what life is.
This is what it's going to be like.
You expect it.
Okay.
I want to know from a woman's perspective, what was your expectations of sex?
My expectations for sex as a woman. Okay. So because of our sex frequency at that time, my expectation was that all my needs were going to be met. Because my expectation was like, he wants it so often that I'm going to get it when I need it.
He wants it so often, so I'm going to get it when I need it.
I'm going to get it when I need it. I didn't really have to, going in, I didn't think, oh, we're going to have sex all the time and I require that of my husband. What I require, and I could be different than other women, but what I require and my expectation was that I would be satisfied in my sexual experience with my husband. That was my expectation.
Okay.
My expectation, I will be sexually satisfied, meaning reach a orgasm or a climax, to be very clear. That was an expectation of the man that I married. I know there's a lot of women that do not experience orgasm within their marriage. For me, it was an expectation.
We still here.
Hey, okay.
12 years later. So
Hey,
amen.
hey,
All right. Moving right along.
Okay, so what I wanted to get into, because what we're talking about is, does marriage live up to the hype? And what we're really saying is, did marriage live up to your expectations? What I want to get into now is what happens when expectations aren't met. So let's say going in, maybe in year 1, 2, 3, expectations were met. And then year 4, 5, 6, or even year 2, even 8 months in, expectations are no longer met. What happens? And what are we saying to couples, and what do you do?
That's a great question. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying in terms of what happens when the hype fades.
Yes.
And so what I think about when I think about marriage now, right, 7 years into it, 12 years together, I think of it as a movie. And in movies, there's different act 1, act 2, act 3. And so I feel like marriage is a beautiful movie that never ends. And so what ends up happening in act 1, right? You chase the girl, you get the girl.
You get the girl, honeymoon phase.
Act 2 is usually, okay, guy wants to go pursue his dream. Will girl go with him?
Yes.
Or will she go with him? Will they separate? She decides to stay with him and go pursue his dreams together. They come into turmoil. They look like they split and she leaves. He gets her back. They come back together. Act 3, they get engaged.
Marriage, kids, happy ending.
Act 3 is really, they get engaged. And then it's, okay, sequel. Then they get married, kids, things like that. But then you go back into that same kind of a act 1, act 2, act 3 as you go further into your relationship. And so there is always going to be, in my opinion, in terms of that spectrum, act 2 is like that conflict. And to your point, that is that unmet expectation.
Yeah.
But I think the foundation, the reason why we say our relationship is fueled by friendship is because if you're fueled by friendship, you're rooted in faith, when the conflict arises, how do we get back to like groundedness? Because unmet expectations come with a lot of different things: resentment, frustration. I would say the first thing is you have to have the foundation of faith and of friendship to even get to a point where you guys can work through that.
Yeah. I think circling it back to friendship, but also I loved your movie analogy, because what I would say is there's like chunks of, there's 4 or 5 movies that plays over the span of a marriage. And in each movie, you're going through every phase. So we haven't been blessed as of yet to have children, but they're on the way. They're being ushered in. God is preparing us for that. When I think about parenthood, I think about that in itself is its own movie. Yep. You got the first phase, it's a newborn, they so cute, then you got to wake up, then you got to figure out routine. Don't even forget about intimacy. What is that? There's phases. Are we going to even make it through this? Can we be good parents? What's happening here? And then over the other side of, okay, we found our routine, and you went through those 4 phases. That was a movie in itself, right? Exactly. So when we think about expectations, and specifically unmet expectations, I'm thinking about, I had an expectation that my husband was going to be a friend for me, and I was going to be able to emotionally dump on my husband all the time, and he was going to be able to receive that. I can come home and dump all of this on my husband, and he should be able to carry that. I think that's an expectation that a lot of women carry for their husband, and when they're unable to meet them emotionally, on where they are, then that becomes an unmet expectation. They no longer feel safe. They no longer feel held. They no longer feel secure. Okay. Which then, to your point, breeds resentment. Now I'm resentful. Now I feel like I can't talk to you. Now I feel like you're not emotionally available to me. Now where do I go with this? What do we do? And one of the things that came up as I was thinking about this and was a mirror for me was contempt.
Uh-oh. I was hoping you're going to go there because you gave me a brief touch on some of the things that you were like gathering. Yeah. And I don't know how much you have. Definition. Okay.
So contempt, which I believe when you have unmet expectations in partnerships, can flare up, right? Contempt is more than irritation or disagreement. It is that, but it's the sneaky or not so sneaky message of I am better than you and I am annoyed I even have to explain this. It sounds like sarcasm, ridicule, eye rolling, sneering, mocking, name calling, or cutting a joke at your partner's expense. So when you think about contempt, I think about, so for instance, a very baseline example is I come downstairs, you've been home all day and the dishes are not done, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you didn't think about this? I could have done this 3 times already. Like this could have been something that was already done.
Okay, you're saying you went out and I was home all day working.
Yes, home all day working.
There we go. And then dishes.
I'm saying, oh, I could have done this, and which makes you feel small, makes you feel like, damn, maybe I should have done it. Makes you feel like, okay, I'm not doing enough. I'm not enough. I've been doing all this all day, and all she did is come home and tell me how I didn't do this, but also that she could have done it.
Ooh.
I want to make this clear that I could have gotten this handled and you didn't, so you're not enough. That's contempt. I had an expectation that the house was going to be clean. I had an expectation that the dishes was going to be done. That expectation is unmet. And now I'm going to make you feel bad about it. And you're going to know I would have done it. You're going to know that I'm a better person than you because this would have been handled.
I never read it like that, but yeah.
I didn't either. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I think about our 12 years, I feel like there's probably been moments where I have had contempt, where I've displayed that of, oh, I could have handled that. Oh, he didn't handle that. And it's, oh, what's really happening, Creatia, is you haven't set the expectation.
Yep.
You haven't. And one thing that I have here in my notes and that I say to you all the time and I've said before is if you don't communicate your expectation to me, you do not give me the opportunity to meet it. So what we're talking about now is unspoken expectations. What's your thoughts on that?
I feel like we were doing the same type of research. Ironically enough, when you talk about unmet expectations and you talk about contempt specifically in what you said and how you addressed it, it's one of those things where you talk about, oh, you have love for a person. At that point in time, it doesn't seem like you were liking me too much, but it's about how you communicate how you feel at that moment.
Yeah.
So one of the examples I had was it talks about using I statements when you communicate with your partner and how important that is. And let me give you an example. I feel overwhelmed with managing the household chores alone. I would appreciate it if we could redivide tasks in a manageable way for both of us.
Yes.
To your point of expectation, one of the examples, I didn't even put it on here, but a lot of guys and dishes is a thing. So in the example, the wife came home and the dishes was in the sink and the guy was either watching TV, it was late. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm planning on doing the dishes later tonight. And she blew up.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I wanted the dishes to be done before I got home. And so it was like, okay, there's a miscommunication. And so another example of the I statements, I feel tension in our marriage around whatever it is. I think whatever the solution would be helpful. But now is no longer like, you could have did this.
Yeah.
It's more so like, you're just stating how you feel.
I love that. So when you're saying like lead with I statements, what you're saying is remove blame.
Remove blame. And a lot of times in those moments, now a guy's going to be defensive.
The wall comes up.
The wall comes up, and it also depends on what his defense mechanism is. Is it silent treatment? Is it
anger?
Is he going to go for the jugular? Not physically, but actually, oh, I did this and you didn't do this. And now we're going back and forth. And there's an argument for no reason.
Yes. Leads me into something else that I thought, oh, we have experience with that, which is silent scorekeeping. So when we have uncommunicated expectations, so not necessarily unmet, but expectations that you don't communicate within your marriage, within your partnership, then you start taking this like silent score of all the times your partner is not doing the thing.
Ooh, Jesus
but they don't
Christ.
even know that they're not doing it. They don't even know they're losing the game because you haven't even communicated to them that this is an expectation that you have. So you're sitting here, that's 12 times this week that he hasn't blankety blank. That's 12 times this week that she knew I wanted sex and she didn't do it.
They did sex part. That's a real thing.
Yeah. So,
That's a
and you're
real
silently keeping this score.
Yeah.
And I'm around the house.
We supposed to got it in last night.
Exactly. And I didn't even know we were supposed to, right? When you don't communicate your expectations, don't give your partner the opportunity to meet them, but also you're over here taking score, keeping this silent score, and they don't even know they're losing the game.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where it blows up.
Okay.
Where I done got the score so high, you at 99. It's 99 to 2. I counted 2 times that I didn't meet the expectation, which was the 2 times you wanted sex. I didn't do that already. I got 2 there. But he got 99 times that he did not do blank. And then I'll blow up out of nowhere. And you just like, what the? But what I know is, this scoreboard, and he had 99 and 2 and he don't even know it.
So this is interesting because we had this conversation this weekend. But how does a husband, I guess anyone, broach the conversation if there is an expectation of sex in terms of either frequency that isn't being met? How does one approach that conversation?
How do you approach a conversation?
In terms of like unmet expectations.
Okay.
You came home and there's contempt because the dishes wasn't washed. A guy comes home and he's expecting, he is about to go down, and that's not met. And to your point, scorecard in his head, right?
He's saying this is the 8th time this week.
Come on now.
I done did a little tap on the shoulder, rubbed her back, and she didn't get
the message.
So how do you communicate that?
Yeah, help some men out there in that regard.
I feel like setting is important. So let's say we're in that moment. You came home, there's an expectation that it was going down and it was unmet. I don't think that it's great in the moment to be like, hey, I thought we were what's going on? I think that you set the stage for a thoughtful and a respectful conversation.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought you meant set the stage for it because I was like rose petals, massage oil.
Of course, that's what you thought. You was like, what's the toolkit?
Set the stage. How am I setting the stage? You talking about for the conversation?
Yes, a safe space.
Okay.
And so setting the stage, and when your partner is in a space where they're open to receiving feedback. This sounds terrible, but you want to lead with the positive and the affirmative.
Okay. Yeah, I like
you
that.
don't ever want to come out the gate in a conversation around expectations.
Yeah.
Blaming or accusing you. Someone is going to get self-defensive and put that wall all the way up. I always want to lead our conversations around expectations with affirmation. Honey,
I like that.
I'm loving that you're doing this week. You did this last week and it felt so good. I love when you do this. This has been such great. Oh, remember we had this conversation about this a few weeks ago? I've seen how you've improved with that. Thank you so much.
I love that.
What I want to also explore is like our conversation or our frequency around intimacy. Like how are you feeling about that?
Okay.
And open up the door for them to express, dude, I'm feeling good. We did it one time last month.
You got real politically correct on that one.
Yeah. Oh, I'm feeling good. Let's say she says, oh, I'm feeling good. We did it remember we did it that one time last month. No, hear me out.
Okay.
See, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So we did it that one time last month. Okay. Yeah, that was a great time. I deeply enjoyed that.
Okay. Staying in the positive.
Yes.
Affirming.
I deeply enjoyed that.
Okay.
I enjoyed it so much that I actually want to do it more frequently. What do you think is a good number? Where can we land? What feels good for you? Like what if we wanted to increase that one time a month, what would feel good to you? Maybe 2 or 3 times. Okay, yeah, that feels good for me too. 2 or 3 times a week. All right, I might be pushing it. 2 or 3 times a month. Okay, let's start there. And now you've made me feel like this was a collaborative expectations we just set. And you didn't come down on me and set a hard number. No, we collaborated on where we wanted to land with that.
So me coming down and be like, I ain't getting none last night. I ain't feeling too good today. I ain't going nowhere.
And you ain't gonna get none tonight. With that energy, you ain't gonna get none tonight.
I felt like even like with us, getting into that space of communicating with you, it's gotten better because one of the things that we found from a therapist that we use regularly is like having check-ins with each other.
Yeah.
And so these check-ins, which she coined the phrase, and I'm pretty sure someone else did, but State of the Union.
Yeah.
In these State of the Union meetings that we have, I feel like it gives us the space to communicate without feeling like anyone's being attacked. Because I know a lot of times in the past, you would come to me like 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm just like, I got to get to the computer. I'm working here. And you want to have a real detailed conversation. And so it's just, okay, every Sunday night, every Thursday night, we're doing a State of the Union where we're not doing like finances, right? Now we're just checking in on each other.
Yes.
And so in that space, I feel like it's a safe enough space to say, okay, this is what's happening and this is how I feel about this.
Yes.
And then voice my opinion similar to what you're saying. But I do think that having a State of the Union on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, however, like time fits for couples, I think that could be helpful.
I think that's great because you have a dedicated time. So I think a lot of times for different people, you have these things that you're thinking that you want to talk to your partner about.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to talk about that. Okay, I want to talk to him or her about this, whatever. When you have a dedicated time, and for us, we have a doc, you can just go into the doc and drop it in there in real time in that moment.
Yeah.
And then save it to visit whenever y'all have the State of the Union.
For sure.
Which is great. I think that's a great tool. One thing that I wanted to talk about really quickly was what I feel we have dealt with sometimes, which is unacknowledged invisible labor.
Okay, so now you done hit me with some scholarly terminology.
Unacknowledged invisible labor.
Tell me more about that.
So it's logistical and emotional work that keeps life going, usually on the back end. So things like remembering birthdays, noticing the dishwasher tabs are low, tracking who needs a dental appointment, setting appointments, booking flights, doing all these things.
What's the terminology or the term?
It's unacknowledged invisible labor. So it's these things that we do within partnerships that isn't physical. So I don't literally see you doing it. So I don't even know that it's happening.
Oh.
But it's this labor and a burden that you're carrying that is invisible to me.
Okay.
So when we talk about unmet expectations, that's also quite often expectations that aren't being met in the sense of carrying the burden of this invisible labor. So usually when you're the partner that's doing invisible labor, you're anticipating needs of everyone in the family. You're identifying the options to solve that need. And then you're deciding and then you're monitoring the results.
Without the spouse.
Without that other
acknowledging it at all.
Not acknowledging, but not even knowing that you're doing it.
Wow.
Because sometimes the other spouse is on such autopilot, a lot of times handling other things that they don't even realize that you're doing this.
Wow.
So then it's invisible labor, but it's also unacknowledged, which then circles us back to breeding frustration, resentment, contempt, all these things, right? Mm-hmm. So when you think about it, it's when you're doing this type of labor, which I think in our partnerships, a lot of times I've been the one doing this kind of invisible labor, there's decision fatigue. So let's say I've been doing this type of labor all day. You don't necessarily realize it.
Yeah.
And then you come in the house expecting some punani. And I'm literally exhausted because of all this long to-do list that I just went down that you don't even realize that I did. And you're coming in with your expectations of, okay, we said 3 times a month, 3 times a week. This is about to happen. And I'm coming in saying, brother, I just booked the dentist appointment, the flight, all these things.
I just did all this mental and physical work.
Yes. So I'm feeling unseen.
Yeah.
It feels, you don't even see what I do for this family, like how helpful this is and how you wouldn't even know that it was your sister's birthday if I didn't tell you. Yeah. Not you specifically, your sister's birthday.
I'm about to say, what?
But but I'm saying there's scenarios when we think about this invisible labor, I think it's important to call to attention for couples because it needs to be something, whether it's addressed in the State of the Union or it's addressed in some kind of way. You need to be able to lay out, like quantifiably lay out these things that you're doing on the back end that your partner isn't seeing.
Yes.
So then you give them the opportunity to share the burden or share the task or share, right? If I tell you about it and you don't do it, then that's different.
Yeah.
That's truly an unmet expectation, but if you don't even know that I'm doing it.
For sure.
Or realize it. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was something we talked about as well, because I think that's something that we have personally dealt with.
I think to your point, if I was to summarize what I feel like a lot of this conversation was today, communication.
Yes.
And what you just told me, I remember like having these conversations with you where it's just, babe, I'm overwhelmed.
Yes.
And I need some help. And I'm just like, tell me more. What's going on? And it's XYZ, ABC, 1, 2, 3. Oh, shoot. Okay, let me take some of that stuff off of you.
Yeah.
But to your point, if it is invisible and someone is like really 10 steps ahead.
Yes.
And the other person, like you said, is on autopilot and they don't know it, then to your point, it is misalignment.
Yeah.
And a lot of times communication can help with that alignment.
Yes.
And like you said, the State of the Union is something for sure. But I think communication is going to be like It has to be key.
That's foundational when
Very
it comes to
foundational.
expectations.
In marriage in general.
Yes, in marriage in general, but specific to this topic, when we think about expectations, having a sense of transparency on what you're expecting for your partner, I'm telling you, it can heal and solve so many problems. If you tell me what you are expecting of, I get to inform you if I'm going to act, if I'm going to meet that expectation, or if I feel like it's an unfair expectations, and then we can find a middle ground.
I'm going to push back on that.
Okay.
And I'm going to push back on that because let's say, for instance, if I told you today, all right, next week's coming up, my expectation for us to have sex is 5 times this week, right?
Yes.
We're releasing a podcast, putting out content, having meetings, connecting with people. There's so many things happening.
Yes.
That right there, you could say yes all day, but in my opinion, that's an unrealistic expectation.
Yes.
So I'm saying, like, okay, to your point, you said these are invisible tasks. Having a conversation, I think we normally do our State of the Unions on Sunday, and just really like, how was your week? What's the goals for next week? What are your priorities for next week?
Yes.
Let's have this conversation. And then before I fix my face to say, I want some 5, 6, 7, 8 times, wait a minute. Now I have to have some empathy. I have to have some consideration. I know that I'm working as well. So what am I doing?
What's a realistic number for us to land at?
Let's be malleable.
Yeah.
Because even if the number was 2, but the week has so much going on.
We might only get 1 or half.
So
don't even ask what the half is. Okay. Just know that it might be 0.5.
But that's why I'm saying I'm pushing back. And I know for you, it's just, it's 5, it's 5. It's like,
so I'm a type A person. And I'm like, set the stage and I'm going to pop it out the park.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try my best to do that. But there are worlds and scenarios where I'm not able to meet those numbers or expectations. And what I think is beautiful, and I would love for couples to cultivate within their partnerships, is a sense of safety around saying, I can't meet that expectation.
Ooh. Because
the way you receive that from me matters so much on if I'll ever come back to you again and tell you that I can't meet an expectation. Yeah. So think about the way you're receiving whenever y'all leave from this podcast, and hopefully you're sharing these podcasts with your partner. I believe that y'all should be watching them together. I think it's more fruitful that way. But when y'all have your conversation around expectations, set the stage and make sure that there is room for your partner to say no, your partner to say, hey, I feel like that's unreasonable, your partner to say that's unrealistic. Can we find a middle ground? The whole conversation should be a conversation not centered in sacrifice, meaning I need to sacrifice who I am, sacrifice my time and all this energy, but compromise. So you give a little, I give a little, you give a little, I give a little, and we find a middle ground that feels good for both of us. So before we leave, I wanted to give out some baseline expectations that I think all partnerships should have.
I did not know that this was coming. So please do tell.
So I think trust is a foundational expectation.
Agreed.
I need to be able to trust you, especially when it comes to if we decided that we're going to have a monogamous partnership.
Okay.
Trust is foundational. That should be an expectation. An expectation of no emotional and physical abuse. Baseline expectation.
Baseline.
Not something that will be tolerated. An expectation of I compromise, never sacrifice.
Compromise, never sacrifice.
Sacrificing who I am, sacrificing the value system that I have, sacrificing my morality is not something that's negotiable.
Okay.
Compromising on different things is different.
Okay.
So an expectation of being willing to compromise.
I'm going to agree with that. Yes.
You could disagree. And then another baseline expectation is a solid ground and roadmap for conflict resolution.
I like that. Yes.
So the expectation is when we experience conflict, we will get to a solution.
Okay.
And maybe not in real time.
I got you. That's good.
You
That's
might need 30 minutes to step away. We might need to talk about it tomorrow.
That's a good one.
But one thing that we stand on in our partnership is that the conflict will be resolved. We can't sit in it. Yeah. We can't let things fester.
We do not go to sleep angry.
Do not go to sleep angry. And then the last one, of course, is friendship.
I love that.
Expectation that you're going to be my friend, I'm going to be your friend, and we will treat each other as such.
I love that.
Because there's a certain love, a certain grace that you give friends most of the time.
Yeah, I agree. That the one thing that I was going to push back on was the sacrifice into compromise. I was listening to a sermon today, reading some books today, and it talks about as a husband, you're supposed to love your wife like Jesus loved the church. And it's literally called sacrificial love. Jesus died on the cross for all of our sins. And so when I think about that as a husband and as a man, it's just, okay, what does that mean? Do I need to die every day, as we talk about with marriage? But it's like sacrificing our ego.
Yes.
Sacrificing sometimes can look like there might be an opportunity here, but is this opportunity going to benefit, like, not just monetary, the household, but is it going to actually like uplift and elevate my wife and my kids? And that might be a sacrifice that needs to happen, because if I go and do this right now, like the foundation, my home isn't going to be on solid ground.
I love that. I can see the difference now when you're saying, okay, maybe there is some sacrificial components to a great partnership.
And I'm saying, based off what I know, what I've read on in the Bible, I'm not saying it's absolute, but I feel like as a husband, that is more so our responsibility and our burden to have more of a sacrificial kind of a love.
Okay.
But I do agree in terms of compromising. You can also look at that as compromise too.
Something that, and we'll wrap it up because I know we're getting at time. But one thing that came up for me just now was I feel like you have a hard expectation around communication, around how I communicate to you in moments of anger or frustration.
100%.
And transparently, right, for people to just have an example, that's a hard line with you.
Respect, no cursing.
No cursing, no yelling.
You can be passionate
Yeah.
and elevated, but not yelling's not happening.
Yeah.
Correct.
And going into our relationship, I actually didn't come into the relationship with that as an expectation of myself. This is the way I communicate with my husband, my partner. I learned that through you. So I appreciate you for teaching me how to deal and maneuver around anger or being upset in a way that is fruitful for the both of us and productive for conversation.
I thought it was natural to you.
It's natural now, but it wasn't. Okay, great. So
what would you like to give the people today?
Let's go into our challenge of the week. You mentioned it earlier. So we created something called the Actually I Like My Spouse weekly scorecard. And this is a scorecard that you can do with your partner. And we want you to do it with your partner on a weekly basis. And it's essentially a micro size of the State of the Union, right?
It's a micro size for sure. But I would say it gives the full breadth of what a State of the Union can be, because it has 10 different categories. They can actually score themselves.
Yes.
And the beauty of it is that each category, you guys get to score together, but then you get to see your results.
Yes.
And so you can see where you might need a little bit more work, where you might be excelling at.
Yes.
And then have conversations about those specific areas.
Yes. And it's everything from like emotional support, sexuality, it's all from communication, acts of service, quality time. So you go through these 10 categories, you score it together, and then you get your results and you're able to have conversation about it. So we encourage y'all, and that's the challenge for this week, to go to the link in our bio, go to the link that we have in the description, and do the weekly scorecard. When you do the weekly scorecard for the first time, it taps you into a 6-week cycle of us checking in with you once a week, to remind you to do the scorecard, but also to continue to support you while doing the scorecard. So that is the challenge. We challenge y'all to do that scorecard. We're doing it. We want y'all to do it.
And communicate with each other. That's the biggest aspect of it. Sometimes when you want to sit down and have conversations, it can just be like all of a sudden all the bad things are coming up. Maybe all the good things are coming up too. But it gives you some type of foundation and then direction.
Yeah. So check that out. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to our episode on expectations. I pray for great communication and great conversations to come as a result of this episode. And we will see y'all on the next one.
Peace.
Clap us out. Yeah.